Hey, law firm owner, welcome to the Your Practice Mastered podcast. In fact, episode 100 featuring another EAY finalist this year. We're your hosts. I'm MPS.
And I'm Richard James. And if you were listening to the last episode, you heard us talking about the EAY finalist and really the most important thing you should do to help you get to the next level in 2025 or any year, quite frankly, is to review the year in the past. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk to one of the 4 finalists who competed in our Entrepreneurial Attorney of the Year contest, whereby they submit their application. They have to go through a bunch of hoops to get us all the numbers they need to compare where they were in 2023 as compared to where they finished in 2024. And then they write an essay and make a video. And then we put all that together. Our leadership team chooses from all the applicants and picks 4 finalists. Today, we get to speak to somebody who has been in our world probably just about 10 plus years. And we've become very good friends. He's a volunteer captain in our world, which means he leads other members. And we've watched him grow from where he was to where he is today. And over the last couple of years, he applied because he's taken massive action.
Jeff didn't just know what to do, he took action by laser focusing on improving his sales team's close rate by 49%. He unlocked massive growth. Pairing that with data-driven marketing decisions, Jeff also increased new leads by 46%, proving that execution is everything.
We doubled the net income without increasing staff or marketing costs.
It doesn't get much better than that.
No, it doesn't.
Welcome, Jeff Kelly. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Of course. Jeff, we're super excited to have you. First and foremost, congratulations again on being an EAY finalist. I'm excited to loop back and ask you a little bit more about that. So you've done a lot of things in the firm over the last 10 years that you've been here, but I'm curious, last year, what was one key strategy or lesson from Partners Club that you took and implemented that really led to some of the growth that you did have last year?
Okay, here we go. Probably the number one thing that I did was implement this daily planning strategy. Not too long ago, James Jones gave his EAY speech, and he had a PDF where he planned out his day. And I thought, man, I am stealing this. This is good stuff. And so I'm hoping I can get with Author to Market and get them to print out a booklet I'd like to give everybody. I tweaked it a little bit, added some of Blaine's stuff in there. And that has been like huge for me, planning out the day and going through my 8-minute workout where I do 2 minutes of prayer, 2 minutes of gratitudes, 2 minutes of journaling, 2 minutes of thinking about what am I going to do today that's kind. This stuff works, rewiring your brain. So I would definitely say 2024 has been the year where it really has come together. I don't do it every single day, probably every other day. But when I do, it has definitely kept me on track, and it's definitely kept major projects online. 2024 was probably the year that automation really made the difference. And I've gotten really into Zapier programming and mail parser. I counted them up. We have 96 processes that are automated. And I'm estimating this is saving us at least 50 hours a week for my caseworkers. In the past, whenever we had a notification come in from the court, it would have a 341 date, confirmation date, and a bar date. These are very key to every single Chapter 13 case. And I would have 2 people go through these notifications from the court and make sure that these dates were perfect in our computer system. They would both have to initial them, and they would still, even though there was 2 people doing it, every now and then we would have a mistake made. No big deal. We would figure it out and cover it. But one day at a Partners Club meeting, I heard Todd Farmer and Sam Wright talking behind me about something about mail parser. And I'm like, guys, what's a mail parser? And so while absolutely I learned a ton of stuff from the speakers on stage, I also learned stuff from these little side conversations. And it is amazing how a little hinge can swing such a big door like automation. And so I dove in, implemented this. So now when the notification comes in, email will filter out the 3 dates. It'll send the pertinent information to Mail Parser. Mail Parser then sends it to Zapier, which then puts it into all of my calendars, notifies all the caseworkers, automatically starts the workflow for each process inside of Practice Panther, and there's no mistakes. None. Zero. That has been probably one of the biggest game changers. Another huge big game changer we had this year was implementing smart routing. I had so many calls coming into my office from old clients, discharged clients, and they were wasting so much time on the new side, our new client staff. And so the new client staff, they don't know anything about the cases. They don't have access to the cases, and they would have to transfer it to the other side of the office. Now, we did try very hard to say, listen, your case has been filed. This is the only number you should call from now on. But inevitably, they wouldn't do it. If they didn't get an answer fast enough over here, they would call every number. We have over 117 tracking phone numbers. And now with smart routing, it doesn't matter what phone number they call. If you're an existing client, you're going to this side of the office. If you are a new client, you're going to this side of the office. Smart routing has enabled us to grow. Between 2023 and 2024, we filed 15% more cases. And that may not sound like a huge amount, but it really is, because there's a lot of dogs you got to throw away to get to that 15%. And we did that with the exact same number of staff. Didn't increase anybody because of that efficiency that was created with smart routing. It also gives the client a much better experience because the new people are able to get their answers faster, and overall the staff is less stressed. It's definitely brought order from chaos. But a third thing we did with this flow thing, I love the flow system. I love this program. And flow, let it flow. 1, 2, 3, watch progress grow. Man, it's so true. And so for years, I have been banging my head against the brick wall trying to figure out this closing process. We've learned a lot from the closing room with Michael. Probably going to need to start doing it again when we hire another closer. The getting them to stick with the script was good. We learned a lot through the flow meetings that there's certain types of clients that we're just not going to be able to help. And probably the big game changer in 2024 that came out of a flow meeting was we noticed a common thread of people who don't file their tax returns. Those Chapter 13 cases get dismissed. Those people are also less likely to provide other stuff we need to move the case forward. So I made a radical decision and said, you know what? If you haven't filed your tax returns in the past 4 years, you're not moving forward with us. You got to call us back later when you get it done. But long story short, we were able to spend more time on the people that really do need us. We've honed in on the script. We've honed in on the pain points. We created a section in call tracking metrics that says pain point. So it's right there on every single call. They're now well trained to press that pain point anytime they start getting objections. Hey, what happens if they take 25% of your check? Oh yeah, no, I can't have that. And so they have done so much better in closing. So we doubled our number of closings. In 2023, we had 676 people put money down for a case. In 2024, 1,145. Wow. And so this has doubled my net income. Do you want me to talk about the lifestyle stuff we did as well?
Jeff, this is a record moment. First time ever I've had to open up my iPad and take notes. Because on these calls, I can usually remember the conversation, but I go, wait, I got to take notes because he's throwing so many gold nuggets out there. Let me try to summarize it for everybody who's listening. Here's what basically happened in a nutshell. So Jeff went through, as a bankruptcy firm, he went through the COVID period where bankruptcies were really hit hard. There was 20, 30, 40, 50% decreases in bankruptcy counts across the country in different areas. Jeff was intelligent and immediately cut back on his team to cut back expenses so that he could weather the storm. And then the storm started coming back like it always does. The economic tides changed. And now bankruptcies are up again, and he used everything that he learned around here, plus things he learned on his own to grow and bring in the business. But he had to figure out how to do it without just automatically adding back in all of this overhead. And so the first thing that he did that he mentioned is he had to become a better leader. So he rewired his own brain by doing this morning exercise that he talked about. The second thing that he did was he leveraged automation so that he wouldn't have to actually have team members do things that automation could do. The third thing that he did is he reduced mistakes by, again, leveraging email automation through the parser to make sure that they were getting things done correctly. And then finally, he took the flow mechanism or the framework that we teach for managing a law firm, and he put all of his team through that process, and it revealed to them things that they needed to do better. And because of that, they were able to close at a higher rate and get more clients to retain the firm. All of that without adding a huge number of new team members. Jeff, is that an accurate summary?
We did not increase marketing at all. Same marketing, same staff, doubled net income. Now, this year in 2025, I have hired another attorney. I'm really excited about that. And I have hired a full-time guy that's going to work on marketing, my marketing assistant.
So MPS, I mean, it doesn't get too much better.
It doesn't. And that's a headline right there, by the way. Same marketing, same staff, doubled my net income. That's pretty fantastic. Now, Jeff, I'm curious, you're in a community of other entrepreneurial attorneys through Partners Club. What's been the biggest benefit of having the community around you?
The biggest benefit of having this community is learning about things like mail parser, learning about things like smart routing, and being in a group of people who are willing to share, who aren't trying to keep all the secrets to themselves, and have really helped me out. Again, these little small conversations can really make big swings for you. For many years, I was very much against financing some of these Chapter 7s. I remember having a conversation with Robert Geller, and he was like, just do it, man. You're leaving too much on the table. And he was right. He was absolutely right. It's made a huge difference in our bottom line. I can remember talking with Todd Farmer about, we used to pay best case like $50 every time we wanted to download a credit report. And he was like, man, you just hire somebody in Mexico, do it, make them pull the free credit report, and you're going to save a lot of money for the large number of cases that we do. And he's right. We did. So it is great to be surrounded by a group of people where you can run ideas by being surrounded by a team of people who don't want you to fail.
You hit the nail on the head. Who do we actually want to surround ourselves with, right? So as humans, don't we want to surround ourselves with people who are genuinely interested in seeing you do better?
Yes.
And so I don't think attorneys would say that the other law firm owners in their community generally want to see each other do better. I would say maybe we could make an argument that there's a lot of the opposite going on. And when you come into a community like Partners Club, everybody there actually wants to see you win. It's unbelievable. And I love that you've name dropped several of the old EAY finalists and EAY winners. And these guys are like you are all willing to share. And so that's what makes this whole peer group community so important. I mean, MPS, we look for this for us, don't we?
Yeah, it's super important. We're doing the same thing. So we actively are always out on the hunt to surround ourselves with the right people that want us to succeed too, and that have the right ideas, that have done it before, that have the success record to show. And yeah, it's important to us. Jeff, out of all the things you did last year, what would you say was the scariest decision of them all you made to grow the firm, and what motivated that action to do it?
Those flow meetings we had where we identified the bottleneck of a certain type of client, the people that aren't filing their tax returns, the whole idea of, no, I'm not going to file their case was absolutely mortifying. It was like, wait a minute. I've paid money to advertise to these people. I've spent time collecting their information to get them this far in the process. And now I'm just going to throw them away and probably lose the vast majority of them forever. That was scary. Mm-hmm. But that was the best move ever. We are able to file more cases. We're able to get more cases confirmed. Our trustee checks have gone every month ever since we did that. So getting rid of the bottleneck can be really scary when you have that whole psychological concept of sunk cost but I've spent so much on getting them this far. And actually by not letting them go, I was hurting the firm.
Who would have thought that if we would just let the wrong clients go, we would be able to do more revenue, hold more income, and make life easier on the team? That it is counterintuitive, right?
Right.
I would give Mike McCalloway a shout out for his book, The Pumpkin Plan. He talks a lot about that in his book. Even though you hear it, It is scary to say no to the wrong client. We have a certain type of client that always comes through our funnel, and every time we try to sell them, 9 times out of 10, it fails. It makes our life miserable. It makes our team's life miserable. It ultimately makes their life miserable. We just can't sell to these guys and gals anymore. It makes everything easier when you dial it in. MPS, I just think as we've looked at this in our own businesses and we see more and more firms utilizing flow to identify, this is one of the secret sauces. Would you agree?
Yeah, a few months ago, we actually recorded a video talking about the power of saying no, obviously to not the right fit from a client perspective, and also just saying no and having the power to say no to certain things, like ideas that can take your focus away. I think it's extremely powerful, and flow helps the accountability portion of it. So here you are, EAY finalist. First and foremost, how's it feel to be an EAY finalist?
It feels really good. I've really enjoyed looking back and going through these numbers and seeing the progress and feeling it and seeing, wow, we really have had a lot of fun. We did get Barbie that yellow Z car that she loves. That's exciting. We flattened the backyard and put sod over it so the grandkids have a nice place to run. We put retaining walls in next to the pool and expanded the area and covered that area with sod. We've got a sprinkler system to keep the grass from dying, hopefully.
By the way,
Great trips.
nobody's going to believe that you and Barbie are old enough to have grandkids. They're looking at you right now going, there's no way.
Sawyer is 6 years old, and he is a pistol, let me tell you. Nothing but energy.
So on top of all this, Jeff, what you're saying is you are also able to build a lifestyle.
Absolutely. Way better.
Is that because more money? Is that because more systematized? What is it?
Definitely systems, and trying to look at every single thing in the firm systematically. What is the system that's going to run this process? What is the outcome we're shooting for? Man, 10 years ago when I first came in here, you may not know this, but I was in a very bad, dark place. I was borderline suicide, and I prayed hard. Lord, I need something different. I knew the pattern had to change. And I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but you weren't my first coach. You were like coach number 4. I was missing the big picture. I knew I was. You want to talk about miserable, working 100-hour weeks, coming home every night. People were yelling at me all day long and then yelling at me as soon as I got home. It was not a fun life. And the Dave Ramsey thing came to mail, and I'm like, hallelujah, this is it. And I went to that event thinking, this is it. And I had a great event and I learned a lot, but it wasn't it. And I remember I was kind of like crying to Jamie Miller, such a nice guy. What a nice guy Jamie Miller is. And he listened to me moan and groan, and he was like, Jeff, there is a better way. I got to introduce you to my friend Richard James. And then when I went to that meeting the next morning, it was a breakfast meeting. The room was so crowded, you could hardly fit in there. And I'm like, nobody's keeping me out of this room. And I bulled my way in, and I sat there, and somehow you put my life in a cartoon. And this dude was drawing up on the board, and I'm like, he's been spying on me. How did he know? That's me right there and there. And it's like, holy cow. And then you got that ending where everything comes together and you start talking about systems and you start moving from chaos to order. And it's, sign me up. Sign me up. Scott David Stewart asked me, I guess about a year ago, he's, man, what's your problem, Jeff? You've been in here a long time. You should have this stuff down by now. And I'm like, Scott, life happens. Life happens. I've hit some bumps along the way. And fortunately, through all these bumps, I have been surrounded by good people, good, merciful, wonderful people that have helped me get through it, not just professionally, but like personally. You know, the idea, this concept that life is not happening to you, life is happening for you. It's a good thing. You can change patterns. You can change outlooks. Yeah, you can get hit hard and knocked to the ground, but you can get right back up and keep moving forward. And that is something I think is a core value of this group. And you were talking about downturns. Let me tell you how bad that downturn was when COVID hit. Our market went from 50,000 cases a year in Georgia to 10,000. We had an 80% reduction You want to talk about nervous breakdown. I was on the verge, and I can remember Ron Kohler, bless his heart, having to listen to me moan and groan in our PIP meetings. And he was so steady. Jeff, it's going to get better. Ron, are you sure? How do you know that, Ron? Trust me, we'll get through it. We always do. And he was right.
It's hard to say when you're going through the storm. And somebody said to me the other day, he said, "Hey, Rich, looks like you've been working out." I go, "But better, because I've been going to the gym 3 days a week and I got a trainer kicking my tail and they're making me eat vegetables and fruit all the time. Yeah, it better look like I'm working out. I'm putting the time in." And Jeff, I feel like for you, congratulations on EAY.
Yeah, and I can't leave this out. The most important person in my life, Barbie. Barbie was a game changer for me. Not just because she quit her job and has volunteered to help look after the staff and help run things. Sometimes you got to hear some tough questions. And I used to take a lot of bad cases because I felt sorry for people. And she was good about coming to me and saying, "Hey, look, here's case number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why'd you do it?" "I feel sorry for them. I want to help people." "Well, why don't you feel sorry for yourself?" What changed me was, why don't you feel sorry for your staff? They know for a fact we're not going to get paid a dime on these crappy cases. And they're not happy, and the clients aren't really happy either because the case isn't going to work. I had to make changes like that. But also, like, when you love somebody and you care about them and you want to do nice things, you got to want it, and you got to want it bad. And that's what that whole daily implementation thing really helps getting your mind set, help figuring out, what is it do I want? What do I want to do? What is the goal? And how bad do I want it? Real bad.
Jeff, it's well deserved. You put in the time, you wanted it, and you got it. And you've built a terrific firm, and I'm excited to see what 2025 brings as well. Congratulations on being an EAY finalist. I'm excited to hear you present in May here in Charlotte.
I'm looking forward to it.
Jeff, just want to say congratulations. It is a position earned, but I also want to say thank you. Thank you for serving our community. You've been here a decade, and you really are a servant leader. You know all these people because you give them credit for serving you, and they have, but you serve them as well. So thank you for serving our community. It's been an honor to watch you take this journey so far, and I can't wait to see what's next. So congratulations to both you and your beautiful bride, Barbie.
All right. Thank you.